Greetings sailors and welcome back to World of Warships, and today I thought I'd look at the Grom, which is the tech tree sister ship of the Błyskawica. Now there's a bit of a difference between them, but it's not a huge difference. The main one is in the torpedoes, and in keeping with the rest of the tech tree, these are very weak torpedoes. Błyskawica is not particularly great as a torp boat itself, but they are about twice as effective in terms of the damage, and they also have about 500 meters extra range. There is an offset though, in that Błyskawica has absolutely terrible concealment at 6.8 kilometers. Grom is still not great, but 6.5 is a bit more usable. It's still, however, only about a kilometer's worth of concealment to use when trying to stealth drop. So the torpedoes are usable, but you're not going to get a huge amount of damage out of them. The only real upside is that they are pretty fast, so you are more likely to get hits with them. People are less likely to be able to dodge, it's just they're not going to have a huge amount of impact. In terms of the firepower, it's the same rate of fire, 6 seconds. Grom, however, has a worse range and is fully kitted out, as you can see, fully upgraded. But that's not necessarily a bad thing on a destroyer. There's no way to get less range when you're playing the Błyskawica, because obviously it's a premium, so the range is the range. But with Grom, I mean, you could potentially even drop that down if you wanted to, and the benefit of that is you can get yourself unspotted sooner. You are going to be relying on doing a bit of smoke shooting in this ship, however, so probably that bit of extra range is useful, but it's a mixed bag when it comes to destroyers. Range generally can have positive effects as well as negative effects, so sometimes it's better to have shorter gun range. Fairly standard captain setup on this. It would be nice to have Adrenaline Rush, and it would also be nice to have MBAA Specialist. But I think apart from that, yeah, there's maybe not that much else I would take there. The only other thing I could potentially mention, I think Błyskawica gets more health, although is that with the captain skill? It is with the captain skill. So without the captain skill, probably about the same. In fact, we can probably click on that. Yeah, okay, so that's actually slightly more health. But the other thing I was going to mention is that it's 2 knots faster. And I think that's with the benefit of the flag in each case. Oh, no, okay. Nope. Oh, okay, I was wrong. I should have been comparing like to like there. Well, it's a good thing I had the thought to check the flag. So it's the same speed with the flags as well. So it is a decently fast destroyer for this tier. So let's give it a go. It does have pretty good firepower. You've got a fair few barrels. I don't know if there's anything else at this tier that has 7 barrels available to it, but yeah, it's not a particularly fast rate of fire. So it's sort of, you know, swings and roundabouts. They've balanced one thing against the other, basically. So this is pretty good matchmaking. No carriers to worry about. There is 1 submarine, which possibly we will be outspotted by. Mayhem we outspot. Podvoisky, I honestly can't remember. And obviously we don't have any radars or anything like that to worry about, so that's fine. We'll see how this goes. Well, we're at the cap. We actually haven't spotted anything yet, despite speed boosting my way here. Well, having said that, we've run face first into the Mayhem and the Montecuculi. Well, that's not so good. I'm not sure why the Mayhem's firing AP, but the Montecuculi's SAP could potentially be unpleasant, so yeah, and there's the Zara. Okay, so we do have a fair few ships. I spotted a bunch of stuff all at once, so that was fun. I do wonder if it's worth trying to get a cap here. Or is that going to be a bit risky? We've got smoke right to the edge of the cap. No, the Mayhem has blocked that. Okay, there's no point sitting in the smoke waiting for torpedoes to come my way or for the Mayhem to come sailing through. So let's back off. Yeah, we do outspot the Mayhem, but it's not by a huge margin. But yeah, we spotted everything rather late, and then it all kind of popped up at the same time. Well, at least the torp reload is nice and fast, which you would hope for on torpedoes this week, but it's not even as fast as it could be, really. I mean, 75 seconds, you would hope that would be more around 60-second range, but alas, no. Let's see if I can angle some torpedoes in this way. Of course, even if we do hit, they're not going to do anything particularly, but you never know. So let's... oh, I don't know. Do we have enough? Probably not. No, it's probably not worth trying to peek around that corner. Okay, why did I think I would get the shots over? I don't know. I don't know. Well, no sneaky last-minute reset for me, alas. Yeah. It would be nice if this line, if they got one more smoke to work with, but yeah, I will say, of the ones I've played, I mean, this is definitely superior to the Tier 5 and Tier 6. The Tier 5 especially was fairly dreadful. Or at least it felt fairly dreadful. And the Tier 6 I've only played a couple of battles in, but I wasn't massively impressed with it either. So, yeah. This Mayhat's being very... considering that they've lost half their health already, I don't know that I would have fired there. Right, so this is mostly cruisers, but there is an October Revolution back there. We do have our torpedoes back already. Don't want to keep an eye on that Leander. There's going to be rather close quarters fighting for a lot of this match. This is not a huge map. And given that we're fighting around the cap circles, that always is a limiting factor. Not sure which way you're trying to go. I don't know, I'm not entirely sure. We don't, yeah, we don't particularly have a great situation overall. Like, if that Leander gets taken out, I might get a shot at the Derflinger and the... Well, that Normandy's just going for it, apparently. But yeah, if I can get to a position to do something about the Derflinger, maybe. That would be useful. Well, them and the Rio de Janeiro are doing a bit of a broadside slugging match at the moment. Well, there's the Mayhan again. And it would be nice if I could get close enough to drop torpedoes on something, but the Mayhan is kind of blocking me at the moment. And I'm not really sneaky enough to do much about it. I mean, if I was in the Błyskawica, I'd be in a worse position. My torpedoes do more damage, but apart from that, the absolutely horrible stealth combined with the still fairly slow reload. I mean, I'm of the opinion, and I have been for a while, that Błyskawica could do with some love, but I guess Wargaming doesn't agree with me. Right, this is... Right, we're not capping A any longer, that's not great. I'm not sure where the Mayhan is, except they are still in the cap, apparently. Okay, I need to move, really, don't I? Hopefully we'll get some torpedoes into the October Revolution. Yeah, so that's the upside of them being fast, is you're going to land a bunch of hits. And if you land a bunch of hits, I mean, 5 torpedoes is still a fairly substantial amount of damage, but yeah, I mean, that's against a bottom tier ship, so against, say, a tier 9 ship that has better torpedo protection. Yeah, we need to take this Mayhan out, because this blob of ships is, I think, just going to mill around there otherwise, and we are rapidly running out of points. Just kind of... Oh, yeah, no, everyone's dying. Okay, I don't think there's any salvaging this at this point. Everyone is, in fact, just dying. So there's a limited amount that you can do, and here's where having Adrenaline Rush would come in very, very useful. because, yeah, 6-second reload versus something like a Mayhan. It's a bit painful. It's not like this Mayhan is playing well, let's be honest. It's just, I don't know that there's been anyone else that's really been firing at them with any kind of consistency. So, yeah, I'm feeling a tiny bit lonely here right now, but despite all these other ships, but never mind. This is basically the survivors of the team. Everyone else died already. Just one of those games, alas. Well, we might get this cap at least, but there is no saving this match at this point. This is absolutely done for. Let's be honest. This all collapsed very suddenly. But sometimes it's like that, sadly. Sort of tempted to fire here. Come on, it's a pair of cruisers, guys. You can take a pair of cruisers, surely. You would think. You would think. I suppose I should have known it was bad news when that Leander got to live, despite them being in a not particularly fantastic position. Come on, you can kill the Montecukuli at least. They're low health. If I end up getting this kill as well, I would be slightly... Like, look at this! They're not even... Like, they're playing bumper cars over there. And we're still struggling. We're really still struggling, apparently. Good lord, okay. Oh dear, it's something. It's certainly something. Mainly the thing that it is painful to watch. They're not even concentrating fire. Focus fire, guys. Kill the low health thing. And then focus fire on the other thing. Is there really even anything more to say? This Tsar is literally reversing away from... yeah. Just, there's nothing more to say about this, really, is there? There really isn't. Just imagine the Benny Hill theme in your head, and I think that'll do the trick. Well, the less said about that complete and utter disaster show, the better. Yeah. I was kind of wishing I had some AP shells at the end there, because I did have a sort of broadside shot on the enemy Gokase, but of course these are HE only, which is not necessarily a bad thing for a destroyer. I mean, it's not necessarily that much of an impediment, but there are situations when you have a broadside light cruiser, and actually some AP might be quite nice, even if these are 120mm guns. So let's try that again, and hopefully it's not quite as hilariously lopsided. Right, well, it's far less forgiving matchmaking this time round. We have a bunch of destroyers that will outspot us, plus a tier 8 sub. And there is a semi-carrier in play as well. So this is going to far more limit my opportunities. On the upside, it's a bigger map. There's more room to play with, so that might help a bit. But yeah, I'm going to have to be really quite cautious here, because everything apart from the enemy Grom, I think, outspots me. I mean, the lightning outspots me by like a full kilometre. Fletcher's not quite that much, but Fletcher's what, 5'8"? Something like that. So 800 metres. Akizuki's like 400, 500 metres. And I can't even remember offhand what the Sturdy will have, but yeah, the only thing I have in my mind about the British subs is they don't have stern tubes, I don't think, or at least the tier 6 and tier 8 don't. Maybe the tier 10 does? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, this is going to be tricky. At least there's no radars, and at least there's not an actual CV. But, you know, the Delaware might still potentially be a bit of a problem, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I do have this U-190 with me here, so it's double the cap rate, basically. We probably won't be able to cap it, but you never know. Somebody might decide they don't want to come this way for whatever reason. Occasionally that happens. We'll see if we can spot here, but yeah, I really don't want to push too far forwards. So there's the enemy Grom. So yeah, if I bump into anything, it will spot me first. Dyson. Okay, well there we go, we grabbed the cap. I guess having yeah, two things here really was useful. Dyson's actually going the other way, which is interesting. California's kind of vaguely coming this way. And I'm maybe pushing my luck a little bit here. Okay, there's the enemy sub, the Sturdy. Oh, we lost our Fantask already. Yeah, in theory there should have been an enemy destroyer that that spawned on this side, but yeah. This is not the most nimble of, like, it's decently fast in a straight line, but as you can see, it's not a hugely responsive ship. I think if you've got poor concealment, you ought to at least be able to go either very fast or else have very, very good responsiveness in terms of your ability to evade. But yeah, this and Błyskawica don't really quite have either. The speed is good, but not as good as it could be. Although I could potentially put the bonus upgrade, whatever you call it, that extends the engine boost time. That might actually be a useful one for this ship, because a base of 90 seconds is not that long in the scheme of things. Okay, so it does actually look like, yeah, the Grom and the Fletcher are in the middle, so their destroyers are all elsewhere. They didn't bother with this cap at all. Which is, well, like I said, you never know how it's going to go. And as it turned out, we were able to cap, and this actually maybe gives me a shot at dropping on some battleships. But I do have to keep a sharp eye on, of course, how close we're getting, because there's not that much of a gap between my concealment and the torp range, which, I mean, that's always been a problem for the Błyskawica as well, but I think it used to be a worse problem. I feel like it used to have also 7.5 kilometer torps. Or was it 8 kilometer torps, but the concealment was worse? I can't remember. No, I think, what was it? Or maybe even like 7 kilometer torps? I can't remember. Błyskawica, I'm sure, has at some point had a torp range buff, because it used to just be able to barely stealth drop. And now it can a bit more comfortably, but it's still not exactly got good stealth. You know, they did it by extending the range of the torpedoes rather than making the range, the detectability range any better. Right, I'm actually a little bit like the fact the sub's going for him as well. This California means they're maneuvering to throw off torpedoes, which is obviously, you know, I don't get the benefit of homing torpedoes, so, you know, not that I want to give wargaming ideas. Have them introduce the brand new line that has the homing torps. Alright, we've actually gotten a bit too close there. Please don't point your guns at me. I know you possibly have high explosive loaded. Although, he's in a bad spot anyway. Like, I don't quite understand why this... Okay, well, that was a bit painful. I don't quite understand why the California was trying to push this cap alone when they had, you know, myself, a sub, Kagero torps coming from the side, and a whole crap ton of other... Well, I say crap ton. 2 other battleships here. That was not a good move. It really wasn't. Right, so we've really nicely secured this end of the map, but the enemy team have done likewise, and these 2 battleships are now possibly a bit screwed, so we've got to get a bit of a move on if we want to get the middle in any effective way. I really don't want to meet any of those enemy destroyers especially. I mean, the Grom maybe if they've lost health, but yeah, without the benefit of adrenaline rush, this lost health does not benefit me even slightly. 6 seconds is kind of a long reload for a for a destroyer. I can words, or well, maybe I can't, maybe that's a lie. I'm a little tempted to smoke up here, but I don't know if that's necessarily the greatest idea. Ah, maybe I will. I'm doing something. Get some damage done. Right, so that is Descent Orbs, I guess? Don't have range to hit the Grom, which Gross is turning away, so yeah. Fire though, that's not bad. And we do have that mid-cap. This ship really, I mean, like trying to get the Dyson, for example, you just don't have the torpedo range to get targets going away from it. They have to be coming towards you. I mean, yes, they're speedy torps, but it's just this entire line is just a bit weird. Like, you can look at this as an example in comparison with of course the Błaszkowicza and see that, well, yeah, the torpedoes are weaker, slightly better stealth, but it has absolutely no benefit to its guns whatsoever. So it's like, well, okay, are they just meant to be a fairly weak line of destroyers? Maybe? Is that the gimmick? That they're a challenge to play? I don't know. Anyway, okay, the Akazuki's lost some health, that's good. And the Grom is still in their smoke. I do have to worry slightly about this Dyson, though. They may potentially have quite a quick reload for a battleship. I can't even put torpedoes through this gap because that wreck is there still. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure about this line yet. I mean, this is still only the tier 7, and the preview tier 8 is locked behind the current battle pass premium version, which I might potentially decide to spend the 2,500 doubloons to get an early look at it, the split. Some people already have, obviously. Or I could just wait till it appears on a tech tree, of course. Right, the Dyson's taking a bit of a kicking. Is he going to be choosing to point his... Yes, he's pointing his guns at me. I really hope you've got AP loaded. And it would be really nice to get unspotted. Yes, it's AP. Still might hurt, but yeah, that's not that bad, all things considered. Right, so Zakasuki on the other side. Maybe I should get in there and help out the Kagero? Probably. This is sort of a slightly awkward... Yeah, there's no point making that drop, is there? Yeah. Come on. You can make that turn. I know you can do it. There we go. I haven't addressed it at all so far, but yeah, this is the Perba camo, which I actually liked enough that I was like, yeah, okay, 100 doubloons, sure. I can spend 100 doubloons on that. Not nearly as nice as the 303 Squadron camo that the Błaszkowicza gets, but that is an exceptionally nice camo. Right, our Heinrich... oh, there you are. Yeah, oh, Heinrich not looking so happy. You're gonna sink, aren't you? Yeah, I kind of am a bit hamstrung here. I can hope to get some torpedo hits, but there's nothing I can do that's going to have, like, shock factor, as it were. I'm just 100% reliant on trying to get torpedo hits, not dying. Oh dear. And hopefully I can chip away enough health to dissuade them. But yeah. No, I'm not going to hit it with those torps. So I could at least have the benefit of faster torp reload right now. Yeah. Yeah, this is one of those lines where you absolutely are going to need a lot of captain skills to patch up the gaps, because there are a lot of gaps to patch up. Oh well, yeah, this is unfortunate. There's not a lot I can do here in a Grom. You just don't have the punch. The hitting power to really be particularly decisive in any way. We do have the fairly healthy North Carolina still. Which way are you turning your... Don't know, but Iowa's going down. Right, let's get the speed boost going. Right, with some extra stealth I could maybe do a bit more. Or if you've got like a torp reload booster, or I don't know. I can think of many ways that you could improve this line, but yeah, it is what it is. It's not like I can really get away with doing any kind of open water gunboating right now. That's just not going to happen. And if I smoke up, no one's going to be spotting for me. And that would be a bad idea at this point anyway, because these ships are pretty close. I would have a limited window to sit and pew-pew. You just don't have the rate of fire. And it's not like they've got a super-duper high fire chance. I mean, it's good. 9% is good for a gun of this caliber, but it's only 9%, and that's before you take into account all of the reductions that somebody might have through captain skills or equipment. So, oh well. We'll see if I do manage to land some torpedoes. I don't think I'm even going to manage the 60k that I got last time, sadly. Yeah, the only real thing I've got going for me over these ships is speed, and even then the Delaware can potentially... Yeah, there it is. Spot me. So I need to get to cover behind an island fairly soon. That is, of course, just as my thing is about to run out, my speed boost. Oh no, he's going north for North Carolina. Okay. I would have thought he'd be trying to spot me, but apparently not. Yeah, something like a 60-second reload would feel far more appropriate, considering these torps are so weak. 7,500 damage is nothing, really. He's flooding, but that's because he's got his plane going. He's concentrating on that at the moment. Right. I mean, I'm only really going for the Delaware because it's closer. I know the Hipper I could actually maybe get the kill on, but in fact the torps are going to take less time to get to the Delaware. It's kind of the deciding factor. Yeah, there's not a lot to be done here, really, sadly. Yeah, it's not... I don't quite understand the point of this line of destroyers, but, you know, some of them are, you know, ships that actually existed, so there's that. But in terms of where they fill a niche or what they do in the game, I've kind of slightly left struggling to really give a coherent idea of what it is that they're supposed to do that's better or different than any other ship in the game. Or even if they're like, because I can't really point to another line in the game that's like this, even if they'd been a bit like another line in the game, and you know, you maybe could have said, okay, they're not the most original, but at least they're not bad. But as it is, don't know what to say. Anyway, yeah, I think almost literally any other tier 7 destroyer that had decent torpedoes I could have done better here. Some of them do have worse concealment though. But I think almost all of them have got better torpedoes. Yeah. So, I don't know if I could have carried a game in that. I mean, I'd have been struggling the Blishkevitsa as well, but the torpedoes at least would have a bit more punch. They actually reload quicker as well, I just realised that. Somehow the almost twice as good torpedoes reload quicker. I really like, even the Sims, isn't that like... Yeah, they're like 9 point something thousand. I really don't think there's anything else that's remotely as weak. Like, where's the Scorner? Okay, they're 7.5, so it's on a par with the Scorner, but the Scorner's got the heel going on, plus a considerably better range on its torpedoes. Like, if you had that range, then maybe, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of this line. I really don't. I haven't been impressed with any of these three. Maybe I'll get the split and it will be somehow much better. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird line. Maybe we're just at that stage of the game where they don't really have any super clear kind of distinct things left that they can do within the mechanics without introducing entirely wacky new mechanics like submarines. Anyway, but it's a good looking ship at least, and it's got a nice camo, so it's got that going for it, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, so if you liked this video, you can do all the usual things down underneath it, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.